All right, so now we're going to go ahead and start our second project. Our second project is going to be a parallel circuit. Now I went ahead and I drew up all of our transformer breaker because you already know how to wire that. You should have more than enough practice by now, but still, if you need help, let me know on that one. But now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start drawing our next thing. So our next one we're going to go ahead and do is a normally open switch, but it's going to be a momentary switch. So when I say momentary, I mean like you're gonna move it, and then as soon as you let off, it's gonna go back to open, okay? So I'll grab that and I'm gonna show it to you here in a second. So we're gonna go from there, we're gonna come across, and we're gonna go all the way across. I'm gonna go ahead and do one light right here. And I'm gonna go ahead and add that on. Okay, so now this is just a very basic circuit, but what I wanna do is I wanna add a parallel element in this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have a drop down. It's going to come down to a different rung. We're going to start kind of talking about rungs. And it's going to go over to here. So now, once I close this switch, the electricity is going to come over. It's going to go to both of these lights at an equal voltage. So that way I'm getting 24 volts here, I'm getting 24 volts here, and then it's going to go back to my transformer, okay? So, like I said, let me grab those switches really quick. The lights are just going to be a green light. So we'll just put green light here. Well, we'll put light green here, and then we'll do light green right here. Okay, let me grab that switch. I want to show it to you really fast. Okay, so here is the switch that I want to be using for this one. Notice when I pull it over, it returns. Okay, so that's where the momentary comes from. This e-stop that we were using before, that was a latching e-stop, so it latched into place and had to be pulled back out or had to be rotated to pop out, while this one is momentary, okay? If you look at this, the rest of this box, we have two other buttons. These ones are latching too, so we're going to be going ahead and we're going to use that momentary for this circuit. And again, green lights, we've already been using those, so let's go ahead and get on the trainer and let's get this thing wired up. So I still have my transformer and my breaker wired up down there, but I wanted to be able to, get a little bit closer up on my boxes and stuff like that. So just know that there, I do have my trainer locked out before starting this circuit, but it's pretty much I'm going to go from my power distribution block over here into my momentary switch. And then I'm going to come out of that momentary switch, jump back into this runway, come in here, and I'm going to put my two lights in parallel, and then I'm going to come back over to my neutral, okay? Now, the most difficult part will be putting these two lights in parallel, but so I'll try to get a close-up view of that. Otherwise, the switch is almost identical to doing the e-stop. We're just playing with a new style of switch, okay? So I'm going to start working through that, and then I will try to really show you guys how to put these lights in, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. So I got my wire going into the switch. I'm going to come out of the other side, then we're going to go over into these lights. All right. It's going through that switch. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run it out of the top. Then go ahead and screw these screws down. That way it's all nice and tight in here. Start running it through that runway over to my second box. I'm going to pull this cover off. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put our first light switch in. Okay, so I got my first wire coming in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump from here over to here, and then I'm going to have a wire. This will be my neutral side, so I'm going to use black wires. It's going to come from here over into this side, and then from here it's going to go back to my distribution block on the side of the trainer. So I'm going to get that wired up so you can see it. So the first thing I got to do is loosen up the wire I just installed, because I got to put two wires into it. So see, all I've done is I jumped down here, tying these two together. Go ahead and tighten this terminal up. Okay. So sometimes I take these and I just bend them up so that way they fit inside the box. So now I'm going to grab some black wire and we're going to go jump from here to here, and then from here back down to my distribution block. Okay. So now I'm going to jump this thing down here, but I'm also at the same time going to be putting another wire coming off of that. So I'm going to jump this one down into here, but at the same time I'm going to have another one coming off, okay? Alright, so now you can see what I've got here is I've got one incoming power that's, put in parallel, and then I've got one outcoming power that's in parallel again. So I'm going to go ahead and flip out so you can see everything, and I'm going to hook this outgoing wire to the distribution block. Again, always be tugging on your wires a little bit, making sure that they're not loose, or okay? So that way they don't fall out. Otherwise, you're gonna have a bunch of problems. So let's get this thing set up here. So I'm pretty much done at this point. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my runway covers back on, and then we're gonna test it. All right, looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and unlock my lockout. Power it up. And then hopefully, yep. So you can see as long as I'm holding that button, it closes the circuit and causes the power to go to my two light bulbs, okay? So let's talk about this for one quick second over on the whiteboard. I guess maybe you're looking at that light circuit and you're like, man, it runs it exactly the same. It's just a little bit different switch, obviously, but it's doing the same thing, but it's not. So again, if one of the light bulbs went out, the other light bulb would still be able to be powered on. So this is a very important circuit. This is what you're gonna see in industrial controls, or almost, really, in reality, almost every circuit you're gonna see out there. You're gonna see a ton of these parallel circuits, because if one part goes bad, another part will still work. So just know that these are very popular, and moving into our next section, we're gonna get into and or logic, and we're gonna kind of see how they totally match up with that and or logic. So that is really the whole point, and just know that these are going to be around for a long time in the circuits that you're going to be building throughout this class and into our motor controls class. So if you guys need any help getting that circuit together, please let me know. Otherwise, I hope it goes really nice and quick for you.